and welcome to the 14th edition of Marex Maritime News. These are the headlines for Monday, 18th May 2020. Maritime luminaries share views on attracting retired TODs to Merchant Navy. Shipping entrepreneurs gear up to boost business operations post-lockdown. Anglo-Indian Uniman Group donates almost Rs 3 crores to PM CARES. Financial package announced by PM likely to infuse buoyancy in logistics sector. ITF and JNG issue joint statement on supporting seafarers. President of Gujarat Chapter, Seafood Exporters Association, speaks to Marex. And now the news in detail. To boost recruitment, the Indian Army is looking to offer a 3-year voluntary stint for young Indians, a tour of duty TOD. A TOD would retire at the age of around 26 years or even less. And considering his professional training, discipline, sense of duty and responsibility, strategic thinking ability, team spirit and leadership qualities will be a very attractive and prime recruit for the Merchant Navy. Will this move by the Indian Army benefit the Indian mining sector? Former DG and now the chairperson of National Shipping Board, Dr. Malini Shankar, too shared her views on this development over the phone to Marex.
Yes, this could be one of the several resource pool of personnel from which the Merchant Navy can draw upon. Even now, you have people who are on short commission services, retired from it, or you have people who have been trained in the army and opt for voluntary retirement. But I think the Merchant Navy will have to do much more to attract these young people into the shipping sector. For this to be a reality, in my personal opinion, the shipping sector has to grow more. Right now, there is a lull in shipping, lull in trade. Once the shipping sector booms, the production increases, exports and imports and trade increases. Cruise ships come back, not only to normal, but also they increase. And cruise and coastal shipping increase in India. The inland water transport has to increase. So in other words, all arms of the shipping have to increase. Once the entire sector grows, there will be more room for people to join. It will move from a supplier's market to a buyer's market in the sense that the demand will increase and the supply will be there.
In terms of maritime sector, there are synergies available. At the onset, the below mentioned basic qualities which could be established as common are listed as follows. There's a very good level of professional training. There would be a sense of discipline. There would be a high level of responsibility and duty. Strategic thinking ability would be achieved. Team spirit and leadership qualities besides other aspects would also be very important. Possibilities exist to induct these people who have completed their tour of duty in the Indian Armed Forces in the maritime sector. However, what we need to achieve is a seamless integration of such a scheme with the various training requirements which are already in force within the maritime sector and ensure that we do justice to one and all, for which we need to have a detailed discussion with all the stakeholders. Conceptually, it's definitely a very good idea. At the implementation level, however, we need to be able to achieve a very smooth integration. This can only be done by, number one, achieving and identifying that this will be a step forward, and be able to, most importantly, achieve our common goal, which is to maximize the number of jobs for Indian seafarers.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently made a big pitch for indigenous product, saying that it will be a huge contributing factor to the Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India. In a television address to the nation, the PM said, global brands began locally. But when their people started marketing, branding and praising their products, that they became global. This was an emotional appeal aimed to encourage Indian entrepreneurs to boost their domestic sales of their products and also push their demands globally. Marex spoke to a few Indian maritime entrepreneurs. Here is what Chairman of Mumbai-based Pentagon Marine Services had to say.
This was very obvious during the lockdown that only the local source and the local product has helped us to survive. During the decades of reform, financial reform since 95 and infrastructure reform since 2004 gave rise to the service industry with jobs which was very low paying job. Now to make a big impact, we have to go the quality manufacturing units establishment within India. We have to go for the manufacturing, and then only we can be the world leader. Domestically we have to grow, and automatically we will cover the globally. In India we do not have a quality shipbuilding yard. We manufacture virtually nothing in the ships. The same thing in the other industry also, like pharmaceutical and other. For that to happen, we have the regulators and the policy maker has to make a big reforms in labor, land, law and liberal financing to the entrepreneurs. We have talented and the risk takers entrepreneur, but the right atmosphere is not there. So the policy maker has to make them, and then we can compete with the China and Malaysia or other countries.
Our future strategy would be to offer state-of-the-art integrated software solutions to our Indian maritime industry, which not only makes their lives easy, save costs, but also enables them to compete with their global counterparts. The Indian maritime industry, including logistics, should encourage each other in the growth of the whole Indian maritime industry.
Hong Kong-based world's leading ship manager Anglo-Eastern Univan Group recently contributed a stupendous corpus of Rs 2.9 crores to the PM CARES Relief Fund as a contribution and help in the Government of India's fight against coronavirus. This is by far the biggest amount contributed by any maritime body or a shipping company to the PM CARES during the ongoing pandemic lockdown. In an interaction with Marex, Manish Pradhan, Managing Director, Anglo-Eastern Ship Management India, said, "This amount is contributed by the Anglo-Eastern Univan Group and the Indian seafarers employed by us." In her recent tranche of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan package, India's Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, announced massive increase in credit guarantees to medium, small and micro enterprises, MSMEs. Some of the prominent announcements include collateral-free automatic loan for SMEs up to Rs 3 lakh crore, Rs 20,000 crore subordinated debt for stressed SMEs facing an equity problem, and a fund for the infusion of Rs 50,000 crore as equities for MSMEs. How will the financial package aid the growth of the Indian logistics sector in the months to come? Will the sector witness a massive expansion of the logistics parks and warehousing facilities in the urban and rural belts of the country? Secretary General of Container Freight Station Association of India, Mr. Umesh Grover, expressed his views.
The 20 lakh crore package announced by the finance minister, with tantamount to about 250 billion US dollars, is definitely going to be a good stimulus to the economy, especially micro, small and medium scale industries and the logistics sector. Logistics sector will also benefit with the growth of MSMEs because this is a long-term plan. It's going to happen in 3 to 4 years. But what is required today from the package is how do you revive the industry now? Because a lot of factories are still shut. The migrant labor is going away. Though it looks like a very short-term thing, but this will have an impact. And it's necessary to address this issue. But for sure, the package which is announced is very, very beneficial to the logistics industry, to MSMEs, and it will, I think, transform India into a new global manufacturing hub. The sentiments against China are going to work in our favor, and let's take an advantage of it.
Mr. Shantanu Bhatkamkar, President of Association of Multimodal Transport Operators of India, also spoke to Marex.
When we discuss with our customers, that is the manufacturers and the EXIM sector, what we hear from them is that they are in a cash preservation mode. Yesterday, we heard that the lockdown has been extended. Couple of days before that, the government has announced a financial package. The financial package is primarily targeted to support the weaker section of the society and secondly, it deals with temporary liquidity crisis of businesses. A liquidity package of temporary nature will definitely give a breather to cash-starved companies. However, it is a symptomatic treatment, and such a package will not help improve the viability of the company and health of the manufacturing and EXIM sector. While temporarily improving the business continuation, it will increase the risk of increasing NPAs. As we see that liquidity may be an immediate concern, but a more prominent issue in a more significant way is the challenge of shrinking demand and diminishing yields, that is, the margins. Primarily, our sector needs a growth impetus for imports and exports. Secondly, we will need cash support for salaries in case we have to maintain the same level of employment at same level of salaries. It will be also beneficial if the government supports self-funded businesses which are financially well consolidated rather than bailing out heavily indebted companies, particularly if their margins are also under pressure. In short, the logistics industry looks for a major growth impetus for international trade so that we can seriously look for new investments and new employment.
The Joint Negotiating Group, JNG, which represents the shipping employers, and the International Transport Workers Federation, ITF, have jointly welcomed the International Maritime Organization's recent statement of recognition and support of seafarers. Significantly, the JNG and ITF have agreed to jointly pursue steps to not only help the now much stressed seafarers travel back home and to the ships and to provide improved internet facilities on board, but also to take up financial measures to support seafarers in these difficult times. Captain Rajesh Tandon, Director, FOSMA, and Global Director of the Industrial Relations and Seafarers Development, V Group Manpower Services, said,
IMEC and ITF, along with the other partners of the JNG, namely IMAJE, Korean Shipowners Association, and Evergreen Lines, have worked very closely to deal with the seafarer issues during this pandemic. On 13th of May, a joint statement has been issued by the ITF and the JNG, which basically summarizes that no further extensions can be granted to the seafarers' contracts. However, as responsible social partners, they have agreed for a 30-day implementation period. During this implementation period, several recommendations have been made to shipowners to consider for the seafarers who are well beyond their contract period. I believe that every shipowner should look at it in a pragmatic manner and incentivize seafarers where it is possible. Also, when relieving seafarers, we should look at relieving the people who have been the longest beyond their contract period, as well as provide them additional data services to be able to connect with their families. We have to try and get the seafarers home within the implementation period because it could lead to serious health and safety issues if this is not managed within this time.
Secretary General of the Maritime Union of India, Mr. Amar Singh Thakur, said,
I am here strongly put forward this circular to all shipping companies which provide the framework of protocol and must be adhered to by every company to ensure crew change take place safely and smoothly. Foremost, the company should ensure that every seafarer whose employment contract has expired but still continue to work is given financially acknowledgement. Providing internet facility to the standard seafarer on board ship is must so that they can communicate with their loved ones at home with regards to their health and safety. Lastly, the company should ensure that given the priority of the seafarer, those who are serving longer duration on board ship. I may truly appreciate and applaud the efforts taken by IMO MEI stand in the solidarity to follow the circular for the good cause of our seafaring community.
The western state of Gujarat in India boasts a 1600-kilometer long coastline. It accounts for 1/3 of the coastline of the western India and provides nearest maritime outlet to the Middle East, Africa and Europe. Home to over 41 major and minor ports of India, Gujarat state is also a leading exporter of seafoods in many overseas markets. The state's resilient ocean-related economy, widely known as the blue economy, contributes in a big way to the nation's exchequer. The annual turnover of Gujarat seafood exports is currently pegged at rupees 5,000 crores. In an exclusive interaction with Marex, President of Seafood Exporters Association of India, Gujarat chapter, Mr. Piyush Phafandi said,
भारत सरकार ने कल जो 20,000 करोड़ का प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना PMMSY जो डिक्लेयर किया है, उसके बारे में मैं बताना चाहता हूँ। वो 20,000 करोड़ जो का पैकेज डिक्लेयर किया है, उसमें 11,000 करोड़ मरीन इनलैंड फिशरीज और एक्वाकल्चर के लिए दिया है और 9,000 करोड़ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, जिसमें मुख्यत्वे फिशरीज हार्बर, कोल्ड चेन, मार्केट, केज कल्चर, सीवेज फार्मिंग, ऑर्नामेंटल फिशरीज और नई फिश वेसल के लिए दिया गया है। उसमें प्रोविज़न जो मछुआरे बैन पीरियड में मच्छी मारने नहीं जाते हैं, उसके लिए बीमा का भी प्रावधान किया हुआ है। जो मछुआरे की बोट है, होड़ी है, उसके लिए भी बीमा का प्रावधान किया हुआ है। और एडिशनल फिश प्रोडक्शन कैसे बढ़े, उसके लिए भारत सरकार कार्यरत है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी भी मछुआरों और सी फूड एक्सपोर्ट यूनिट कैसे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एक्सपोर्ट्स कर सके, उसके लिए एक्टिव है। अभी गुजरात का एक्सपोर्ट्स 5,000 करोड़ है और पूरे भारतवर्ष का एक्सपोर्ट्स 50,000 करोड़ है। गुजरात का एक्सपोर्ट्स सी फूड में 5,000 करोड़ में 2,500 करोड़ जो एक्वाकल्चर से आते हैं, प्रोडक्शन होता है झींगा का, वो एक्सपोर्ट्स करता है। गुजरात आने वाले दिन में बहुत बड़ी सी फूड एक्सपोर्ट हब बनने वाला है और वो जो सी फूड एक्सपोर्ट हब बनेगा, उससे गुजरात का भी एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ेगा और आने वाले दिन में पूरे भारतवर्ष का भी एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ेगा, ऐसा मेरा खुद का मानना है। भारत में अभी जो झींगा की एक्वाकल्चर फार्मिंग हो रहा है, वो बहुत 25% हम लोग शायद सी कोस्ट यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं। अगर उसको प्रॉपरली यूटिलाइज करें तो अभी सिर्फ 12,500 पौंड्स है हमारे पास, वो 50,000 पौंड तक जा सकता है। अगर 12,500 पौंड में हम लोग 50,000 मेट्रिक टन का प्रोडक्शन करते हैं तो 50,000 में हम लोग कम से कम 2 लाख मेट्रिक टन का प्रोडक्शन करेंगे। 2 लाख मेट्रिक टन का प्रोडक्शन होगा तो 15 से लेके 20,000 करोड़ का वैल्यू का हम लोग प्रोडक्शन कर पाएंगे। हमारा जो टारगेट है कि ये प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना के तहत कि उसको डबल करने का है। 50,000 करोड़ का जो भारतवर्ष का एक्सपोर्ट्स है उसको 1 लाख करोड़ तक ले जाना है आने वाले 3-4 सालों में। तो गुजरात उसमें ग्रोथ इंजन की तरह बढ़ सकता है और गुजरात ये जो डेवलप हो रहा है उसमें माननीय श्री विजय भाई और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री थोड़ा फोकस करके ये इंडस्ट्री पे थोड़ा ध्यान दे तो आने वाले दिन में बहुत बड़ी रोजगारी हम लोग सी फूड सेक्टर थ्रू दे सकेंगे और उसके हिसाब से रोजगारी जैसे देंगे तो हमारा एक ह्यूमैनिटी की ओर हमारा बीइंग भी रहेगा।
In other news, the National Union of Seafarers of India, NUSI, held a Facebook live interaction titled Kaam Ki Baat on May 16th. On this forum, NUSI discussed various issues related to the Indian seafarers. Marex spoke to the NUSI General Secretary, Mr. Abdul Ghani Saran.
9th May 2020, we celebrated the NUSI founder Mohammad Ibrahim Sarang Day on the social media virtually on the Facebook Live of National University Seafarers of India. And that gave us an opportunity to evaluate the platform of Facebook Live, and we decided that every week on Saturday 1200 hours every week we will start a program of NUSI Kaam Ki Baat. So this Saturday, that is on the today on the 16th, we had this Kaam Ki Baat, and it was very well received, and we will be covering the current topics. So this today's topic was the status of the sign on and sign off of the Indian seafarers, both in the Indian ports and also those who are out of India and waiting to come back. So it was also very well received.
On 15th May, the 66th Foundation Day of the Transport and Dock Worker Unions, Mumbai, office bearers and members delivered a grand salute to Comrade P. De Mello, who in 1954 succeeded in merging 4 major unions into one under the banner TDWU. Mr. De Mello passed away at the young age of just 39, but not before he had laid the groundwork of the Mumbai's Municipal Union, BST Workers Union, Taxi Men's Union, and had shown as the founder member of the All India Port and Dock Workers Federation. Also hugely honored and remembered on this day were Comrade K.A. Khan, Comrade W.T. Pinto, Comrade Manohar Kotwal, Comrade S.R. Kulkarni, Comrade Dinkar Desai, Comrade Khandekar, Comrade George Fernandez, Comrade K.R. Prabhu Desai, and Comrade Bhajapu.
कॉमरेड्स, चलो हम सभी समय की यात्रा करते हैं। आज हमें यूनियंस की बदौलत जो सुविधा, जो संरक्षण मिला है, उसके पीछे किस किस का योगदान है, कितनी लड़ाइयां लड़नी पड़ी है, उसका अवलोकन करते हैं। थोड़ा सा पीछे मुड़कर देखते हैं। ब्रिटिश राज, स्वतंत्र पूर्व काल, तब गोदी मजदूरों की हालत बहुत खराब थी। न काम की निश्चिती, न समय की निश्चिती। मजदूरों को 12-12, 14-14 घंटे काम करना पड़ता था। छुट्टी तो थी ही नहीं, कोई भी परमानेंट नहीं था। जहाज कामगार कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पर थे, और तो और सबको काम मिलता था, ऐसे भी नहीं। कर्नक बंदर वाले मजदूरों को काम मिलने के लिए 2400 घंटे इंतजार करना पड़ता था। गलती हुई तो पीठ पर हंटर की मार पड़ती थी। कॉन्ट्रैक्टर और शासन दोनों मजदूरों का शोषण कर रहे थे। साल 1936, इस घने अंधेरे में एक आशा की किरण दिखाई दी, कॉमरेड पी डे मेलो के रूप में। पी डे मेलो साहब मुंबई पतन न्यास में नौकरी कर रहे थे। पोस्ट थी टेम्पररी टैली क्लर्क। अलेक्जेंड्रा डॉक्स में डी मेलो काम कर रहे थे। उन्होंने देखा इब्राहिम नाम का एक कॉन्ट्रैक्टर एक मजदूर को हंटर से पीट रहा था। डर के मारे सभी चुप थे, कोई अन्याय के खिलाफ आवाज उठाने की हिम्मत नहीं कर रहा था। तब उठ खड़े हुए पी डे मेलो साहब, हंटर खींचकर उसी जगह इब्राहिम की पिटाई शुरू कर दी, और यही कामगारों में आपसी बंधुभाव की शुरुआत थी। ऐसा नहीं था कि तब यूनियंस नहीं थी, 5-5 यूनियंस थी, पर आवाज उठाने वाले सिर्फ पी डे मेलो साहब थे। 19 यूनियंस के इतिहास में एक सुनहरा पन्ना, क्योंकि इसी साल बॉम्बे डॉक वर्कर्स यूनियन, बीपीटी डॉक स्टाफ यूनियन, लोखंड जत्था कामगार यूनियन और लॉरी ड्राइवर्स एंड क्लीनर्स, इन सभी को एक साथ लेकर स्थापना हुई ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड डॉक वर्कर्स यूनियन की, जिसे 15 मई 1954 को मान्यता प्राप्त हुई। इसके प्रथम अध्यक्ष थे श्री नाना झेंडे, जनरल सेक्रेटरी थे पी डे मेलो जी, सचिव थे एसआर कुलकर्णी, मनोहर कोतवाल, पीडब्ल्यू खांडेकर, के.ए. खान और जॉर्ज फर्नांडिस।
पीछे से
of India, Shri Mansukh Mandviya's father, Shri Lakshman Bhai Mandviya, left for his heavenly abode on May 16th at the ripe old age of 100. May the departed soul attain eternal peace. Thank you for watching. See you all next Monday.